Hey guys, Dr. Martin Hart here. Just spent a weekend camping with my family. We got to go to the lake for a little while. And so while I was at the lake, you get to see people in their swimsuits. And so, being a chiropractic physician, you get to start to kind of go, okay, what's going on here? And so, one thing that popped in my head was how much estrogen toxicity is prevalent in our culture today, especially American culture and Western culture. How often we have men and women have excess estrogens floating through our system. Okay, so I thought I'd just do a really quick video on looking at that and just a couple of quick things that were easy to point out and easy to see with some estrogen toxicity. So estrogens, it's a hormone in our body we make naturally. Men have some, women have more. It's a big factor for creating the feminine look of the body, right? Or for men, there's a little bit of regulation there. It supports some immune function, some hormonal functions, hair, things like that, right? So when you have toxic estrogen in our system, though, what does it do? Well, it can just regulate the rest of our hormones. So for women, it can throw off their cycles. Some symptoms that look like breast tenderness can look like excessive bleeding, lots of acne, anxiety, irritability can all be symptoms of estrogen excess. It makes histamine intolerance worse, right? It aggravates that. One way that estrogen is detoxified is through the COMT pathway, the catecholamine O-methyltransferase pathway. And so toxic estrogen will slow that way down. So now you have a harder time detoxifying other toxins. You have a harder time breaking down your stress hormones, breaking down serotonin, right? Those are all big factors coming from there. That's why it makes you partially irritable, things like that. For men, it can cause hair loss issues. It can cause hair growth in funny places. It can cause, the dreaded gynomastica, which is excess fat around the pectorals for men, which basically, the quote unquote man boobs, right? And what was sad to me was not so much that a bunch of overweight 30, 40-year-old men had gynomastica, right? Had too much fat around their breast tissue. What was sad to me is to see the 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old boys already showing signs of estrogen toxicity, right? And so that estrogen is going to wreak havoc on their systems. No wonder our fertility rates are going down in men. No wonder testosterone rates are going down in men, right? And so I felt so sad for those boys because it was such a sad way to start and some preventable, right? So what's just a few things, right? There's a lot, and I don't want to get too crazy into it here, but there's just a few easy things we can look at that create estrogen toxicity. So number one, all the birth control dumping into the water sources, right? That's a big source of estrogen toxicity. So start filtering your water supply. Filter the water you drink. Get a shower filter on that you're bathing in, especially that your children are bathing in. Don't put warm foods in plastics, okay? Don't microwave plastics. Don't put hot beverages in plastics. Don't consume plastics. Plastics are a big source of xenoestrogens that create estrogen toxicity in our body. Outside estrogens like parabens and different additives and even some essential oils that are additives to different shampoos and cosmetics and things like that are all estrogenic, right? So we want to watch out for that. To some degree, certain foods, soy, things like that are estrogenic. I know people might want to debate about that, but regardless, there's lots of phytoestrogens in soy, and so probably overconsumption for men is not a good idea, right? So then even for females who are estrogen dominant or have estrogen toxicity, it's not a good idea, right? Another thing is having excess fat is estrogenic, right? So regulating your weight as best you can helps to control some of that hormone toxicity, some of that estrogen toxicity. Other things that might help, is DIM can be a big helpful. Broccoli is a big one. The cruciferous vegetables can help regulate some of the estrogen toxicity. Those are great ones. Zinc, grapeseed extract, things like that are all going to be really good. Another big one, sorry guys, especially on the camping trips, but beer and excess alcohol is going to be estrogenic for us, and females included. I think I just felt, it hit me right in the heart for those young men this weekend, so I'm probably saying a little bit too much about men, but the same goes for women, okay? So lots of different things out there that could be associated with estrogen toxicity, estrogen dominance, but I just wanted to get this one out and just kind of a plea to parents for these young children, these young men, and some of these young women even, the poor gals who are just coated in gobs of acne, and they're having trouble with their cycles, and so then they're getting put on birth control, and a lot of it's from estrogen toxicity, and a lot of it can be prevented by a few lifestyle changes. and so that we can reduce some of these hormonal issues later in life, reduce some of these problems, reduce self-esteem issues coming from some of this stuff. So let's just take a moment as parents to recognize that issue and take it upon ourselves. Okay, you guys, I hope you've had a great weekend. Share this with anybody you think would be useful, and take care.